welcome to a Greater Reality Healing, Living, and Helping online meeting. This program helps people take higher energy paths during their earthly experience. Doing that, especially after big changes that seem like losses, can create quantum leaps in your learning, growth, and service to others. Over time, this transformational journey can help you. First, you could adopt a more accurate worldview based on contemporary understandings about the big picture of life and live accordingly, whatever that means to you. See Article 19 and the great news about the nature of reality at soulproof.com. You could experience shorter, enlightened grieving after loved ones changed worlds and other big changes that seem like losses. You could fine-tune yourself physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually so you have the vitality to handle life's demands and share your greatest gifts or your soul's missions. You could become more aware of, benefit from, and share life's silver linings that always accompany opportunities masquerading as adversity. You can create the greatest life you have envisioned. The term you refers to your higher self or your eternal consciousness or your soul. And you could fulfill your highest purposes for being on earth and help make our world a better place. This is now practically possible, as discussed in Article number 125, 8 Developments for Widespread Conscious Living Now. As enough people do this, widespread personal and planetary change will naturally unfold. The evidence-based information and holistic resources in this program can help you do this. But this program is not designed to replace traditional medical or psychotherapeutic care. The healing part of this program is not designed to replace the many wonderful services that Helping Parents Heal provides for parents with children who passed on. It is designed for people with other kinds of losses, the passing of a spouse, sibling, dear friend, pet, etc. It was also created for people struggling with challenges such as financial losses, health problems, loved ones with mental illness or addiction, etc. Dr. Pitstick has worked closely with Helping Parents Heal for 11 years and continues to do so. He recommends that organization as the first and best resource for parents, grandparents, and siblings after a child changes world. 3 30-minute parts of each online meeting include presentation, breakout groups, and Q&A. Breakout groups are not to be recorded, but the rest is, so others can benefit from them. During discussions during meetings are confidential. You can share what occurred, but not from whom. If you're concerned about anonymity, just show your first name in your Zoom window and block your video image. YouTube links for class recordings are under Greater Reality programs at soulproof.com and soulphone.org. Subscribe to those newsletters for updates and more. And I'd now like to introduce our presenter, Mark Pitstick, MADC. Mark has over 50 years of experience helping many people in hospital, pastoral counseling settings, mental health centers, and holistic health clinics. To learn more, visit soulproof.com/about. Dr. Pitstick's ebooks, audiobooks, audio programs, and documentary film are free at soulproof.com/shop. His free articles are free at /articles. Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you very much, Allison. Good day, everyone. Welcome. It's a sacred privilege to remind you who you really are, why you're here, and who walks beside you always. Now, we live in a very comforting and inspiring time right now, a historical moment, really, for humans, due to a number of things. First of all, life after death has now been scientifically proven. To learn more about that, see article number 1 at soulproof.com. We're waiting to get the infrastructure in place for official announcements. Secondly, there's collective evidence. By collective, I mean scientific, clinical, and experiential evidence about how life is set up, what we call the great news about the nature of reality. And it's all great news. So see article number 19 about that. There's also been an emergence of a number of factors that I describe in my article, The 8 Developments for Widespread Conscious Living Now, described in article number 125. So a little homework, but so important to make you realize, oh my gosh, what we're doing right here, you each are pioneers. I mean, the very fact that you were attracted to this, you're learning this, because this information you're learning is going to be even more important after public demonstrations of post-material technology and the official announcements. So again, the goal of this program is to help you heal and positively transform no matter what's happened to you in the past or now, to enjoy the greatest life of your dreams during this earthly experience, and to help yourself, others, in our world. So I created 18 keys to help people do that, and we'll be talking about 3 of those today. But if you haven't watched videos for classes number 1 and 2, please do so as soon as possible. You can watch them at soulproof.com, then the top tab, Greater Reality Program, and then the first sub-tab says Recordings of Meetings. So let's dive into the slides. And I want to give credit to my fiance, Andy, who took the photos for all of these slides that we'll be showing. And of course, here we go again. I do this so much, and yet for some reason, this one's not advancing. Oh, it's going to go that way. Okay, so here's Andy and I. And she is an evidential medium. Her dad passed when she was 2. And some of her first memories were talking with him in spirit. But then she quickly learned, not to tell others who weren't open to about that. So she's been able to see energy, auras, and spirits since she was little. She was a 30-year RN at a children's hospital, now a doctor of acupuncture. So she's a lot of why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm thankful for that. And okay, why? Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, key number 4, because we did 3 keys the last time. My bad. So key number 4, learn the evidence that no one really dies. And this breaks down into scientific evidence, again described in article number 1, clinical evidence, article number 60, and experiential evidence, article number 115. I want to share just, let's see, 6 days ago I had a Ask the Soul Doctor class for helping parents heal. And one of the moms was consoling another mom because the first mom's child's body passed in a way that seemed to be a lot of suffering. And so Franny, the mom, said, well, let me share this story with you. It might help. So Franny told that her daughter, Mari, was brutally murdered. I won't get into the details. Well, when that happened, Franny felt Mari's presence very strongly and tried to call her. And of course, obviously, Mari couldn't answer the call. Then for the next hour or so, Franny perceived Mari speaking to her softly. I'm okay, Mom. Don't worry about me. Things like that. Then the detectives called, and Franny went down. As the detective was describing what happened, Franny said, at first, I was just devastated, so horrible. Then she said, then Mari appeared to me. There were other people around, no one else could see her. She appeared just from the waist up, but she appeared solidly. And I asked on what scale, 0 to 10, 10 being the most. She said 11. So solid. And Mari spoke to her and said, Mom, don't worry about me. It only hurt for a minute. I am so happy now. And again, Franny, the mom, heard this outwardly, like you are hearing my voice right now. Franny said, yes, it was horrible, of course, her child passing, but having that auditory and visual experience helped her grief so much. And now she's helping other parents with kids who have passed. So you perhaps can feel the transformative power of that. And that's part of why it's so important to learn the evidence that no one really dies. So benefits of that for the healing part, because this is greater reality, healing, living, and helping. It can lighten the duration and severity of grief after the bodily death of loved ones, people and pets. For living, you can know that you're an eternal being and live accordingly. Aristotle, 2,500 years ago or so, made a remarkable statement. He said, let us live as though we are immortal. Profound. But now, with all the evidence we have, we can modify that and say, we are immortal. Let us live accordingly. I mean, it changes everything, really, when you understand. And then helping. You can share your greatest gifts and your special talents. When people don't do this, there's a block to the flow of life force, energy. People aren't doing what they as souls came here to do, and it's a common cause of depression, existential angst, creative discontent. So you can read article number 21 and use the audio program at soulproof.com to identify what are your highest purposes and share them. So some action steps for key number 4, read these articles I've already mentioned, or all that evidence is also compiled in my little book, The Afterlife Evidence. And then also consider your firsthand experiences. First, experiential evidence we're talking about, and ask your loved ones who are open-minded and open-hearted, what have they had? And of course, this is something you can share in the sharing groups here in a bit. All right, key number 5. And yes, that's a spider web with dew on it. Amazing. Benefit from your earthly and your spiritual support teams. Some benefits from this for healing. You benefit from the reality of unseen assistance. I get all kinds of emails. A guy named Bill, and he had just read my book Soul Proof, which shares a lot of the evidence and ramifications, breakthroughs from that evidence. And he said, I just read it. I went to my doctor, and my doctor gave me the prognosis that I had Parkinson's disease and probably would go rapidly downhill. He said, upon hearing that prognosis, I can say that I just felt surrounded by love. I knew after reading your book how much I am guided, assisted, loved by angels, guides, master teachers, the light. And he said, I wasn't afraid. I knew I could face this with grace and even look for the silver linings. That's how we each can do this. And that's part of becoming a master on earth. For a living, you can live with this team I mentioned, angels, guides, master teachers, and the light. I'll share a quickly experience with you that happened on 11/11/23. I had gone on a flight. Someone behind me was coughing their head off, and soon afterwards, I got really sick. It was pneumonia, and we're very health oriented, so I didn't want to get antibiotics or go to the hospital, although I probably should have been, had fever, pretty sick. So Andy was doing an acupuncture treatment on me. I was on this biomat, and of course I was full of all these supplements to help my body care, and I went in quickly into a hypnagogic state, that state just between sleep and wakefulness. And I saw 3 very loving beings that kind of look like aliens, just outlines, kind of grayish, and they were they were tending to me. One of them put their hand on my left lower lung, and I physically felt the touch of a hand, and that's where most of the infection was. Another put their hand on my left temple, and that's where some of the worst sinus infection was, mastoid sinuses. And then I sensed like they were doing psychic surgery, cutting out little pieces of bone to allow releasing the pressure. But then they started arranging these little white pieces of bone, energetic, in front of me. And I realized it was spelling something. And it spelled out, act as a team. Oh my God. And I wrote it down, and I still have it where I see it often. So that experience helped me. First of all, I got quickly better right after that. Secondly, it's such a powerful, again, wake-up call to make me realize this is really real. This isn't wishful thinking. You know, it's not some archaic teaching that's a bunch of baloney. This is the way life is set up. So I hope you realize that more. And then for helping, when you realize your team, you can start the day, as Wayne Dyer and Bernie Siegel told me many years ago, and say, pray, how can I help? And then be alert for opportunities that come up. So the, oh, come on. Yeah, so I want to share my angelic encounter. This happened in 1993. I had been working on a book for 3 years part-time, early in the morning, and I was wrapping it up, and I was looking for a biblical quote that points out the profound potential for humans. And I remembered it partly. So I looked, you know, I'd gone to theology school, I had all these books and the concordance, but I couldn't find it, find this quote. And I just said, okay, I looked up and said, I could use a little help here. Immediately in the hall, just by my desk, I saw in my peripheral vision kind of a wedding dress, just a fleeting, beautiful gown. And I thought I heard a little giggle. And I immediately felt ecstatic and thought that perhaps I had encountered an angel. And just then, I felt compelled to pick up the Bible that I had been searching through for a half hour. I opened it, I looked at the lower right page, and there was a quote I was looking for in Hebrews that says, and this is speaking of God, thou madest them, humans, just a little lower than angels. And so again, I mean, you know, there's some evidence to that that is really real when I got that information so quickly. All right, the next slide, if this system will cooperate. Action steps for key number 5. Read article number 66, Relationships for More Evolved People. So this is talking about expanding your tribe, expanding your circle of open-minded, open-loving, open-hearted people. Because most of you are likely intermediate to evolved souls, advanced souls. And so you're not going to get along so well with average earthlings, you know, 85% or more beginner souls. So it's important to meet more evolved people. And this article describes how you can do that, places where they frequent. Article number 71, Ask Your Soul Angels in the Light, and then use the audio program free at shop. So you can get in touch. I ask a series of questions, but then there are a couple fill in the blanks. So how can you better sense the real assistance you get from your spiritual support team and other people? Read article number 73, Angels, Higher Energy Assistance, to understand more about that reality. And then prayer, so powerful, talking to God. And number 89, and I share mine. And then finally, be sure to let other people help you. Know, one of the biggest things we see in people who are struggling, suffering, is they don't reach out. They suffer in silence. They don't let people know they need help. And it's okay to, especially because after you can stand on your own more, you can help other people. And Song of the Month is Lean on Me by Bill Withers, one of my favorites. So maybe you want to listen to that with your eyes closed and just let it pop up, float in. How can you open to others who can help you? Key number 6, upgrade your understandings about and relationship with God. And GOD stands for, this is Dr. Schwartz's acronym, the guiding, organizing, and designing power and presence that's behind the entire cosmos and is the entire cosmos. I'm just smiling because this thing is not working. I know we're getting messed with by all the energy floating around because not only you all are here, but your teams are likely here and helping you have a breakthrough and awaken more to what you came here to do and do it. And as more of us do this, boom, peace on earth, planetary and personal wellness. All right, benefits of key number 6, again, expanding your understanding of and relationship with God. For healing, you realize the power and intelligence within you. This is one of the reasons I became a doctor of chiropractic. That was part of their philosophy in the 19th century. The same power and intelligence that create and sustain worlds resides within you. You know, people give so much credence, power to disease, and not as much to their bodies' amazingly self-restorative healing abilities. So this is an important one. Living, knowing that you're never alone, just like the beautiful poem Footprints in the Sand points out. And helping, like Mother Teresa, you see the face of God, Christ, whoever your favorite ascended master is, in other people. So you serve other people knowing that you're also serving God. It's just going to do it the whole way. And all right, I wanted to share this about Creator, and I will just ask you to read it. And if you, for people who can't, that I will say it later. But go ahead and read that, please. So for those who can't read for some reason, this is a quote from the book Destiny of Souls by Michael Newton, PhD. He was working with a client during a 4-hour super deep hypnotic session with a woman that he considered to be one of the most advanced souls he had ever met on earth. And she was describing Creator, which they call oneness, the presence, as massive but soft, powerful yet gentle. There is a breath, a whisper of sound that is so pure. The sound creates all, including light and energy. The sound holds a structure and makes it move, shifting and undulating, creating everything. It is a reverberating bell, then a high-pitched pure humming, like an echo of a mother full of love, singing to her child. I have read this and typed this out hundreds of times over the years, and I still get teared up. Partly because I never totally forgot where I came from. And so, yeah, this is what Creator's like. And this is part of our true nature. And, you know, you may have been taught, you know, God's a big guy in the sky, vengeful, judging, all that. No, this is Creator. So what a difference. And so I will close with a beautiful slide, if I can get to it. And this is just so funny. I mean, I do these slides. Here. All right, so action steps for key number 6. Read article number 13, What is God Really Like? 16, evidence-based teachings about the nature of reality. 14, heaven and hell, because this is what are they really? Because this is one of the biggest stopping points for many people. They hear about hell and then they go like, oh, what kind of loving God would create a hell? Well, there's no fiery eternal place of torment is the short answer, but make sure you read that. And another one, why did God take my loved one? Especially when it's children. It's one of the most common questions I get asked. Why did God take my child? And so read the article. But the short answer is your child is part of God. It wasn't God's decision. Your child's an eternal soul, probably an advanced one, that shows it was time to move on to fulfill your child's greatest plans and probably partly yours. So really important for getting closer to the ground of all being. And the last slide. Good old Rumi. Wow. And, just recently I've been teaching, you're like a drop in the oceanic divine. And I forgot this wonderful saying. You're not just the drop, you're the entire ocean in one drop. We will stop on that note. And I'm on time today. It's a miracle. Oh.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, I will. I'll emphasize that as a miracle.
So we're ready for the Q&A now. And if you can, please enable your video. It's always better to be able to see people and gauge reaction. So are all the groups back, Allison?
Yeah.
Okay. So chance to ask your biggest questions about anything, life, death, afterlife, and also if you want to share your greatest challenges, whatever it is, body, mind, and spirit, and I'll suggest holistic resources for helping you transform that and even find the blessings. So who would like to pose the first question or share?
Mark, can I ask a question on behalf of one of the people that were in our breakout group? This lady said that her daughter passed, and she knows that she's with her all the time. That being the case, why did she then need to pass if she's now with her all the time in spirit? I don't know if you can.
Yeah, good question. Well, because we encounter different challenges, we can grow in different ways when we're free of this body. You understand that being on Earth, people think dying is such a bad thing oftentimes, but this Earth is one of the toughest places to be in the cosmos. I've mentioned Brian Weiss when I took his week training to do past life regressions. He referred to Earth as the toilet bowl of the universe. And so when we're on Earth, we suffer from optical delusion because we can only sense so little of reality. So apparently her daughter then was ready to go back home to the really real place and have different experiences, different adventures, learn in different ways. So I mean, it's a real blessing that mom and daughter, being in two different dimensions or realms, are so close. But yeah, it was their daughter's time to go back home, and the mom will eventually too. And I'd love to hear from the mom if you want to, share more about that, follow-up points or questions. That's a good one. Yes, Essie is how you say it.
Yes, that's correct. I believe we all choose the which way we want to develop our souls further, and accordingly we choose the country, time, family, the society to be born into, and our life experiences allow us to learn from those experiences, and when the time is right, we go back home.
I agree. Yeah, that's And there's good clinical evidence for that right now. If you see my article number 98 about life between lives, clinical data from the work of Dr. Michael Newton. Yeah, so we have, I mean, it makes sense, first of all, what you just described, but we also have supportive evidence that that is indeed the way life unfolds. And, you know, that's so different from beliefs before, like it's in, so for example, I've heard so many parents whose kids have passed and their well-meaning minister said to them, well, it's God's will. And the parents went, then God's a jerk, you know. And it doesn't make sense. But when you understand that we have souls have a role in that, a major role, hopefully in conjunction with our spiritual support team, yeah, it's not God deciding who suffers and passes. So thank you for sharing that. You have a question or anything else you want to share?
No, I would love to listen to the rest.
Okay. God bless. Who else? Yes, Franny. You're muted, dear. So if you'll click the icon of the mic, there we go.
Sorry. If you come to this lifetime to learn certain lessons, as in when we lose children, and to that the lesson within that is maybe about gaining forgiveness for other people that were involved in the experience, is that something as you come to complete your lesson in forgiveness in this lifetime, to take it back to, and that grows your soul to evolve to whatever, just trying to get it all in, because I've had a lot of stuff happening in this lifetime, and people have told me that you're just getting your PhD this time in life because you've had all these things that have happened. So is that is it that you evolve more as a soul when you have a lot of things happen to you?
Yes. Yeah. And so first of all, if you see article number 25 on pre-birth planning,
Okay.
and that's a very long article, and that discusses the view, and again, it has supportive evidence for it, that we as souls do choose possibilities and probabilities, not set in stone. But yes, that's certainly the goal, to grow as a soul. It's perhaps easier to wrap your head around when you think of it, when you remember that we're beings of energy and consciousness, awareness. And so that energy can be low, like mainly focused on hatred and bitterness and regret, or it can be higher, focused on peace, joy, love, and gratitude. Article number 108 discusses that. So when we build spiritual muscles, when we go through adversity, and that's one reason people come to Earth, because it's kind of like going to the gym. If I went to the gym and pressed this pen, I wouldn't get very much muscle buildup. But if I got a big dumbbell, I would. Well, it's the same way with this earthly experience. When we go through these tough times, even though it's just a blink of an eye, it's a relative illusion, a virtual reality experience, it seems very real at the time. And so it creates profound realizations, lessons, strengthening that then become who we are. So they have eternal benefits. So it adapts, it evolves our energy. So that affects our consciousness. So, you know, we can, you say, well, why didn't I just stay in heaven forever? Well, people can, and from what I understand, some souls do, but they have much less growth, benefit, and fun than those of us who are like, let's have an adventure, because forever, no beginning, no end. So what are you going to do? Just sit around? Yeah, we're in heaven. Yeah, it's another heavenly day. But, you know, after a while, that gets boring. So people want to have adventures, just like we like to watch different movies and read different books. What else do you have questions about that?
That, who, me? No, that's, are you still talking to me?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that totally makes sense because you know, I've always been active and I work out at the gym and I just have always been attuned to staying physically in really good shape. And so it totally makes that analogy that you just built, that's what it is then, because I've had some really hard things happen over the years. And so it's to raise my consciousness, to make me more, that my spirit muscle stronger.
Yeah, and it also helps others around you. And these advances in consciousness are like ripples that travel, and we never know how far-reaching they are. Another article you may want to read is 118, and it's called "Who and What Are You Really?" And so that helps you understand more of the big picture of life. And then you're not seeing through a tiny pinhole, you're seeing with larger, and you see how things make sense. And the more you can see, the more you realize it is fair, loving, totally safe. There's truly nothing to fear. And then that's when you can become, a spiritual master on earth. You're on earth and you're around the density and the difficulties, and you do everything you can to help those. And sometimes you suffer and feel sad, but at the same time, you know it's all good and it's all God. Doing that's been described as walking on a razor's edge, as difficult as that, but it's possible, and it's a matter of gradation. If you can do that even a little bit, it makes a difference.
Because I love to go out and help people and be around people, but it's to processing the many things that have happened to me. I've gotten much more reclusive, and it's easier to not, because it's hard. I don't know what I can and can't say, because you know what my experiences have been pretty, you know, with Marika communicating with me and everything. It's been harder, and so I've drawn in more. So the razor's edge is something to strive for, because I love going out and helping, and I mean, that's who I am. I mean, I've always been an out there kind of person.
Yeah, well, you went through that time of isolation, but now you're ready to serve more and get out more. The most amazing people I know, they're doing the most, have gone through the most suffering and difficulty, almost across the board. So, welcome to the club. Glad to have you on board, matey.
Thank you.
By the way, I called your daughter Mari because when I started to say it, it was like Marijka or something, and I didn't know how to pronounce it, so I wasn't going to butcher it. Say it again.
It's Mareka. Mareka.
Marika, that's beautiful. So
Thank
the
you.
J
It means
is,
means little Mary in like German, I think.
yeah. All right. Good seeing you again. Take care.
Thank you.
Maria, you're up next, please, dear.
Hello, Mark.
Hello.
Hello. So, my son Andrew passed away this past March, and I've had conversations with you regarding him coming in through meditation. But lately, Mark, I just want to mention that, I was overwrought with, grief and sadness, and I was really in a dark space a few days ago, because I said I wanted to be a catalyst in his life. But then the thought came to me now, Mark, the roles are reversed. He's a catalyst in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of stopped, crying, and I'm like, wait, what? He's now a catalyst in my life. And whether he put that thought in my head or because I resonated with that it's now a game changer. He's now guiding us, and it's like he's a strong soul, and he's there. And I possibly I will never have an answer as to why it needed to happen. Why? And I moved on. It's like that shifted my awareness of, I'm in the big picture, is that he's there, I'm here, his role now, he's a catalyst in my life, and I am honing in into my like instincts, my gifts of knowing, and it's sort of like a game changer when you shift that awareness. And
Yep.
it's incredible, Mark. It really is. And I'm not saying there's not, of course, there's good days and bad days, but the shifting of awareness has really helped me. And this group and these sessions, talking to other people, it's amazing. And so, does that happen when you shift that awareness, how acutely aware you are that the roles have reversed and he's helping me? He's now my catalyst, and it's okay, you know?
Yes, yeah, beautifully put. So, yeah, we've talked before, mainly
Mhm.
helping parents heal classes. As we
Yep.
mentioned, there's some evidence that loved ones on Earth could be our guides. Sometimes guides will incarnate to help us along. And so it may well be that Andrew was like that. So, and then sometimes souls will set things up because, you know, it's so easy to fall asleep on Earth. There are so many things to distract us and get sidetracked. And so when, for example, a child passes, that can be a wake-up call. As we say in HPH, it can make you better or bitter. Well, in your case, you're choosing to make it better. And it's only been 5 months for you. So, I mean,
Yeah.
if you're doing anything except laying around crying, you're doing great. But yes, it makes you search more deeply
Mhm.
for answers. And regarding the why he passed, you can use the audio program that we mentioned earlier, Ask Your Soul Angels in the Light. And so when I give a couple fill in the blanks and leave a couple minutes of silence, that answer can just pop up, float in. But it won't be, you know, like 7 pages long of descriptions. Well, it'd be very, very simple. You know, it was my time to go home. I had finished my missions on Earth, something like that. So the brain, you know, is looking for some big textbook explanation, but the brain will never be satisfied because it thinks the only thing that's really real is what the 5 senses can detect. So that's why it's important to go beyond words and have these experiences, like through meditation and nature, where there's this profound knowing, be still and know that I am God. So you're doing great, and I'm inspired every time I see you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and by the way, I did order Soul Proof, and I listened to the audio book, and let me tell you, it is so inspiring. So I recommend that to anybody who hasn't yet read it or listened to it.
Thank you. Full disclosure, I paid Maria to say that. No. All right, take care, my friend. I'll see you later.
Thank you.
Gina, you are up next.
Okay, hello. So, my question is, we're here to learn. Do we ever graduate? Because learning and learning and learning for eternity sounds exhausting. Like,
That's a great question. Remind me your situation. Your loved one
so
passed?
yes, my daughter, 31 years old, left behind a 1-year-old and a 6-year-old daughter. And
Right.
we've messaged a few times.
Right,
And
right.
I
I
think
remember.
I'm really stuck on the whole why question, but like just learning for eternity sounds exhausting to me.
Yeah, well, right now you're not seeing things clearly and understandably. Remind me how long ago she changed worlds?
It'll be 3 years in November.
Okay, but with the little ones and different things you share, yeah, it's tough. So I would say don't even spend too much time and energy, but the answer is that the more you become evolved, the easier the learning is. And at some point, there's not so much to learn. So right now you're going through a really tough time. So don't extrapolate and think that's how learning is for eternity. you're in the toughest of the tough, okay? And so there's an article, yeah, it's number 80, called SAGE training. So SAGE is an acronym for why souls usually come to Earth. Service, serving others, helping others. The A is for adventures, because that's how we grow. That's how we learn. We're each are heroes and heroines. I mean, just to come to Earth, you've got to be a strong, brave soul to do that. G, growth, learn. And then E, enjoyment. And right now, I know you're not having a lot of enjoyment, but there are just exquisite opportunities. So read that article, but just work with the basics that I've shared with you. And right now, don't get the cart before the horse, because just survival is kind of your thing right now.
I've been reading Dolores Cannon, and I just wanted to know how much her thoughts and ideas align with your own.
Well, there are so many authors and teachers out there. I certainly can't comment on that. I've got so much I teach.
Okay.
I don't really read or study others much. You can email me if you have a more specific question about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I do. Okay.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Hang in there, my friend. I can guarantee you it gets better and easier, but it's one day at a time. And sometimes it feels like one moment at a time, but you have the resources. Are you using a caring listener through HPH?
Not at this time. I've been with the cancer group, and I think that's been good.
Okay. Well, those caring listeners are awesome. So just make sure you use the different resources. And have you used the holistic breathing technique?
I've been trying it. I had talked to you about, it was kind of triggering for me.
Right. Right. Well, even so, use it. I will guarantee you it will lift some of that pain that you're feeling. So, yeah, please use that.
Okay.
All right. Let me know what you need. We'll get through this together. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Sharon, looks like you're up next.
Hi. My question is about, I want to know what your thoughts or feelings are about having a breakthrough or feeling like it's been a spiritual awakening, meaning that you get to a point where you can connect with your person on the other side, almost like with a formula.
So can you say more about that so I understand exactly what you're asking?
Yeah, I mean, my daughter transitioned 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago, and leading up to the 10 years has definitely been a shift for most of us, the people closest to her. So my husband, myself, and her best friend. And her best friend just recently feels like she just kind of went to a different level and had a very big kind of enlightenment where she's got a connection that she feels like is life-changing. And it's a little unnerving for me. Like, I'm excited for her, but I'm a little jealous. I'm a little not sure how to respond to her. So I'm just curious, like, just the concept of a spiritual awakening.
Yeah, well, the article to read on that is 17, which is called Spiritually Transformative Experiences. And
Okay.
as I discuss in that, it's well identified that there are a series of different things that can wake us up, shake us up. And one is the passing of a beloved person. So again, you know how many people are just, they're spiritually asleep, spiritual amnesia. And so they're like, oh, did you just see, Brad Pitt, who many people think is my twin brother because our names are so similar. Look who he's dating, or look who's in first place in sports. And that's fine, if you want to do a little, but if that's all you do, you're missing the reason for coming here on Earth. So that, yes, it appears that your daughter's friend was ready to have a breakthrough. There's a saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And perhaps being her friend versus her mom, it was a little easier for you. For parents, there's always that Yeah, but I still feel sad and I wish that hadn't happened and all that. So one of the things I learned from interviewing 130 parents, have you read the Shining Light Parent Speak book yet?
No.
Okay, it's under shop. And then at the Helping Parents Heal website, you can watch the actual interviews I did of these parents. And one of the key, so these are the like cream of the crop. They're group leaders, they're caring listeners. You know, they all had one or more kids that passed. Some of them, uh, all of their kids, two or three of them. And even so, they are operating at high levels of peace, joy, love, etc. And they said that it's important to realize that it doesn't have to be either or. You can have both. So you can be sad and miss them and regret it happened, and at the same time, choose to help others. Choose to remember the great times. Choose to remember that you'll see each other again and have a meaningful relationship right now. So that's a real big distinction to have. So I'm curious, what do you feel like is blocking you from having your own breakthrough?
I mean, probably everything you just said. Um, I don't know, trust, fully believing. I mean, I'm listening to her explain this to me, and as she's talking about, she's been in therapy for a little while and she was doing parts therapy, and part of it was, it's like a different way to say what I've also been learning, which is kind of like to put your ego aside. She used it in terms of put different parts aside and open up sort of an emptiness. And that's where she felt like she connected with my daughter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are different routes for different people. For you, I would recommend the holistic breathing that I just mentioned with Gina. It's described in article number 70, and then the audio program is under shop, holistic breathing. Because so much of this understanding goes beyond words. I mean, I've been a meditator for 50 years and yoga for 50 years, and I've had my own profound spiritually transformative experiences. And so words can fall short, and that's why many religious teachers considered that anything you try to say about Creator or a meaning of life, ultimate questions, is ineffable. It will by necessity fall short because human language is so limited. So that's why I encourage you to use the experiential sessions like holistic breathing and ask your soul, so that you see it that way. You see, hear, feel, and know, because the brain and words will never comprehend it.
But a spiritual awakening isn't necessary, right? I mean, like, she's going to feel like this is the moment that changed her life, which is great. And I think it is going to be a permanent change for her, which is what I've wanted for her all along. So, I mean, I'm really, really happy about that. But I don't know that, does it have to be a spiritual awakening? Do all of us go through that, or do you just gradually change?
Well, I don't see them as being different. It's just it can happen more quickly or it can happen more gradually. And when you say, does it have to be a spiritually transformative experience, I was like, well, what are the other choices?
Well, I guess I mean, like, this feels very much like one event.
Yeah.
You know, it feels like one like very intense event that made a change.
I get. No, it's different for different people. And for many, it is more gradual and incremental. But basically, it's just awakening to how life is set up, is another way to put it. So, see, Article 77, centering practices, is another good way to quiet the mind, quiet the brain, rather, so that the rest of your consciousness realizes and sees life. Who was it? Allison and I were talking during the break about the slides that I used today and the beautiful nature scenes. And she said, yeah, the photos alone tell the whole story. I mean, you know, great, like William Blake, you know, said, you see the truth of the universe in a beautiful flower. You can just see all of nature shouts it. So yeah, do some of those things and let me know how you're doing, what follow-up questions you have for you and everyone else. Mark@soulproof.com. My answers are short but information laden, and I'm truly glad to help a bit because a few minutes of my time could be what helps you have that breakthrough. And then you're sharing your light full force. And guess what? You could be the one that tips the scale.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Take care. Any other questions? We're done with the official 90-minute, but truly I'm glad to answer anything else. So if you have to leave, we understand. But if you want to ask more, Franny, you're up again, dear one.
This is so helpful. I just wanted to say thank you. I am grateful for this platform, and I will be back if I'm allowed, because this is so helpful, and I really appreciate you and all that you're doing.
Well, thank you. And you're sharing again of Marika.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. I mean, that jazzed me so much. Everybody I see, I'm telling them the story. And like
Oh, good.
I added to, at the end of article number 126, also number 28 about afterlife contacts. I shared it with all the Elizabeth and Irene, the president, vice president of Helping Parents Heal. I sent it to all of the group leaders and caring listeners. I just did a short video on it, a 90-second video that's going to go on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram. So, yeah, I know. I mean,
Thank you so much. Oh,
your daughter was murdered, and yet here we are talking about the silver linings, the blessings, and you're smiling, and I'm sure Marika is just saying, yes, we did it. So that's a beautiful example of how this works. So thank you.
And thank you. And I was messaged by one of the parents in Canada, and I'm down here in Maryland, and they were just, oh, Franny, because they knew my story and they were thanking me. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, well,
Mark, real quick, there was a question in the chat. Maybe there's an article that you have about this. Does every single animal have a soul that lives on after death? Even flies and ants, do they have a soul plan?
Oh man, that's a big question. Let's take one at a time here. First of all, the articles I wrote about pets are 22 and 39. So the first one, they have a consciousness, yes. Consciousness is really what we are. I mean, it's important to be alive without, it's impossible to be alive without consciousness. Same thing for trees and so on. And we know that through various energy experiments. Secondly, do they have an afterlife? Yes, it's been well documented through clinical evidence. We haven't researched it scientifically yet. But many, for example, near-death experiencers who have evidentiary experiences. By that I mean they're in an ER or ICU. Their eyes are closed. They're in a coma. They're clinically dead. All right. And when their consciousness leaves the body while the body is being resuscitated, they see events in the room, down the hall, on other floors, and even on top of and outside the hospital, that upon successful resuscitation, these people accurately describe, and it's verified. So these are what we call validation NDEs. Well, these people who had those also say, when I was back home, when I was in the light, I saw my pets, and they name them and describe them. So these pets are still alive. We also have, this is in one of the recent journals of the International Association of Near-Death Studies, IANS. It was talking about people who had near-death experiences. And so they're in the light, they're clinically dead. They had a pet who passed on. The pet was alive and well before they got sick. The pet passed on. And so the person that has NDE said, when they come back, I saw our dog in the light. How could that be? He's alive and well. And they say, no, we're sorry to tell you, but your dog died. Your dog's body died at the same time. So what are you going to do with that? And there are a number of them that have been documented. The other thing I will say about evidence that pets have an afterlife, they continue in a different realm like people, is that many evidential mediums, and I describe this in article number 6, accurately describe pets. So let's say you went to a medium and you wanted to try to connect with your loved one, and the medium said, and the medium, no way they can know any of these details. Yes, I'm picking up your daughter, and she's here with this little dog, and I'm hearing that his name is this, and it's all accurate. So the medium couldn't see that unless that pet were surviving in another realm, another space-time dimension. And was there another aspect to your question or her question, Kat?
It was just even down to flies and ants, like, every single living animal, I guess.
Yep. Life is life. Energy is indestructible. Second law of thermodynamics. It just can change form, and that's the one that can throw people off. So never ending, but often changing. So no worry about your beloved pets. And the other big, beautiful evidence we have is people who have both terminal lucidity and deathbed visions. Let's talk about deathbed visions, and I discussed that in article number 95. So sometimes shortly before, and this usually days or hours before a person changes worlds, they will begin to see, sense loved ones who are coming to greet them, what's called the welcome committee. Not only family and friends, but pets who have passed on. Sometimes these people, while they're even in a coma, they'll reach down and be petting something, and the caregivers say, well, she must be petting a dog. Raymond Moody, MD, PhD, is the first one to describe these. It's kind of like shared crossings. But the really amazing part of this is that sometimes, and it's been documented, doctors, nurses, caregivers, family members in the room near the time of passing also see these loved ones from the next realm who are coming to visit. So there's so much evidence, and that's why I work tirelessly to get this out, because the evidence is there, the good news is there. It's just a lot of people don't know about it yet. So thank you by sharing that information.